Brendon Burn has been recently speaking to some different companies who have had to lay off a lot of people in times of recession and trouble. And the question I've got to ask you is this. What do you say to people who are about to lose their jobs?
Well, I went with my colleague Clayton Cosgrove to the Firestone factory in Papanui a couple of weeks ago. Sure, it's a difficult thing to walk into. We didn't go on the day of the announcement. We went just a week or two later. You don't stand up and give a speech. What we did was just circulate around the canteen and talk to some of the mostly blokes who are losing their jobs on the 18th of December, and just basically say, you know, if there's anything we can do to assist, please get in touch with us. I have to say, in that instance, Firestone, Bridgestone, in fact, it now is doing the best that it possibly can as an employer. It's paying out all of its redundancy entitlements. It's giving the staff lots of support, and I take my hat off to them in that instance.
Well, fair enough, and for sure. And of course, it's not a moment for politics or anything. We understand that. But the question I have to ask you is, why is it, do you think, that a visit that you make proves worthwhile to somebody who's lost their job?
Well, you're there as part of a support package. One idea I've raised with the company is if they see value in having somebody on the staff actually employed for the period after closure. And we did this at Lane Walker Rudkin. We got one of the staff employed because sometimes dealing with those people from the government departments, work and income, people you don't know, people you don't trust, people of different age group maybe. Maybe it's useful sometimes to have somebody who's employed from the staff itself. So that's an idea that's on the table.
Now, we've had Mr Burns on before, and I'm sure he's going to forgive me for the next question, but the truth of the matter is, people of faith lose their jobs, people with no faith lose their jobs, irrespective of what you believe. We go through the similar hardships.
Yes.
You've noticed that? Okay, and do people survive differently in your experience?
Yes, they do. And sometimes it comes down to the sort of support they've got from their family, from their church, from friends and neighbours. Sometimes it comes down to a bit of luck, so being able to bounce out of one job to another. But of course that's difficult in the times that we're in at the moment, especially in a very traditional kind of employment setting like a tyre factory. A lot of the guys there, they are mostly men, have been there 20, 30, 40 years. And for them, difficult to get into a new career at this time of our economic cycle. That's the sort of thing that, as an MP, you hope you can get involved and support, but it is difficult.
Okay, now, New Zealand's a tiny island, Mr Burns, but we float on the world's economy somewhat, and we know it's a little bit beyond our control, but I want to ask you the simple question, and the question is, and you want to know it too, and the question is, if we're all going around the world in an economic depression at the same time, who the heck has the money? If we all owe money, who's got it?
Okay. Well, yes, the banks did put up a lot of money for lending, and some of the banks internationally have collapsed, and finance companies here in New Zealand have collapsed. Effectively, it's governments that step in and pick up those debts, and you're seeing it by the trillions of dollars in America. Much lesser issue here in New Zealand. So governments step in, and it's a bit of an irony, you know, people say that the market rules and then we don't want the government to intervene, and yet when the numbers are up, it's in fact governments that step in and restore the world back, we hope, to some sort of sense and order.
Hey, well, thank you very much. Thinking about it, maybe that's why in the Holy Bible, God says we should respect our governments. He's given them a role to play in our lives, our everyday lives. But who knows? What do you think about when you're going through tough economic times?